Welcome to the Sun Goddess Creations podcast. This podcast will be your go-to for all things regarding self-discovery and self-expression. We also discuss topics like religious deconstruction, more taboo subjects like non-traditional relationship orientations and sexuality, and much more, all with the intention of supporting your soul's evolvement and highest expression. I am your host, Jenica Dawn. I am a certified health and life coach with a background in psychology, but mostly I like to label myself as an artist. I'm here to create and put things out there for you in hopes that it will lighten the load during these difficult times, bring you some joy, and shine some light in the darkness. It is my desire that you leave each of these episodes feeling more seen, heard, and with a little bit more clarity and peace of mind, and perhaps with some inspiration to move forward in your daily life and experience joy to the fullest, to express yourself more, to live in your purpose and your wholeness. So today I want to touch on a subject that has been deeply confusing for me in the past, and I know that I am not the only one that feels this way. I think growing up in a society where there's so much fear-mongering and so much pressure to perform and to be perfect, it can be very difficult to decipher the difference between our intuition and our fear. So today I'm going to be talking about how to know the difference between your intuition and your fear, how they present in the body, how they present in our behaviors and in our manifestations, and how to tune into your inner knowing over the fears that have probably sabotaged a lot of things in your life thus far. So for me, growing up, I had a very difficult time knowing how to listen to my intuition because through the religious system that I was brought up in, I was taught that my body was my enemy, that my heart was out to deceive me, and that I couldn't trust myself. That God was essentially the dictator of my life, and that if I strayed off path in any way, that I would be punished, even potentially eternally punished and abandoned. At the same time, deciphering God's will was also so deeply confusing because there were so many contradictions in the belief system that was presented to me as truth. So I just felt like I was constantly racking my brain trying to understand what it meant to do the right thing, what it meant to follow God's will, and was continually terrified of making the wrong choices, of making one wrong move and fucking everything up. From a young age too, I was also faced with huge life-altering choices to make. I was engaged at 19 to a very toxic person, as you attract when you come from a toxic belief system and a low self-worth. My nervous system was simply fried from the beliefs that I had been rehearsing throughout the entirety of my life. I was taught to listen to that still small voice inside of me, but I was also conditioned to believe that that still small voice was the punishing male God voice in my head, and not the gorgeous fire within my belly, pointing me gently towards my desires. I was shown that turning to the mind for answers was the correct path in order to stay walking the narrow path, proceed through life with continual caution, and to avoid punishment by observing every single angle of every little decision that I was making. It caused a great sense of hypervigilance within me and made it very difficult for me to make even the smallest decisions, what to eat that day, without overthinking every little thing out of fear of making the wrong choice. This is what happens when you're taught you can't trust yourself, you can't trust your body or your decision-making process, that you have to outsource that to someone or something that knows more than you, but not recognizing that that something that knows more is actually living within you. It's not outside of you. So The first thing that we need to know about intuition is that intuition is always coming from a space of love. It is the voice of love. That still small voice inside of you is, I would call, your inner being or your highest self speaking to you through your desires, speaking to you through love, unconditional love, without punishment, without shaming. And love feels harmonious. Love feels like freedom and expansion and inspiration. It feels like joy, bravery, and passion. It feels like alignment, like pleasure and relaxation. Have you ever noticed that when you're on vacation, it's so easy to make decisions because you're just going with the flow. You're not overthinking anything. You're not worried about something going wrong. You're in complete relaxation. So therefore, everything just works out so effortlessly. This is what it feels like to listen to your intuition. Fear, however, feels like tension and contraction. It feels draining and exhausting on the body. Fear creates a sense of pressure and force to get something done at a certain time period or in a certain way. It might present itself through bodily sensations such as a sick or twisted up stomach, shortness of breath. I've experienced what feels like someone is choking me out. It becomes very difficult to speak my mind, to speak my heart, to speak my truth. There's a sense of urgency and demand that comes with fear, and it may manifest through competitive or desperate behaviors. Through a series of experiences in my life personally, I've found that when I'm present within my body, within my sensations, and within my pleasure, it becomes effortless, fun, and easy to listen to my intuition, simply by letting my body lead me. I've found many times that if I'm grounded within my pleasure and simply enjoying my life and following those momentary impulses, I naturally dodge seemingly dangerous situations. And I do so with calm confidence, and I carry on with what brings me joy. I know that my personal truth may not resonate with everyone, and there's a reason for that. We all operate very differently, and this has a specific purpose. If you haven't heard of human design, I highly recommend looking into this. When I learned about human design, it completely changed my life. It not only validated what I was learning about my intuition and about how to listen to it, about my decision-making process, but it also clarified so many things that I was so not aware of when it came to my energy body, when it came to making decisions from a confident space. So what human design is, it's similar to astrology in the sense that it's based on your time and location of birth, and it maps out your energy body accordingly. So it shows you which energy center in your body is your authority. So in basic terms, where your intuition speaks through you the most, and which energy centers are open to conditioning and could use improvement in aligning those centers to your authority so that you can make decisions easily and effortlessly and according to your highest truth. So for instance, my authority is my sacral center, and my sacral center is responsible for creativity and pleasure and passion. It's where a lot of my joy lives. It's where that life force lives. I highly recommend checking yours out. I believe it's bodygraph.com is where you can find your human design chart. And it will lay out to you kind of like a graph, the drawing of your body and your energy centers. They basically describe you as like a vehicle, and that each vehicle operates differently, and that we were put here with certain instructions, a certain operating manual. And so human design is kind of that operating manual. So along with your authority, you also have other energy centers that are either fixed or unfixed within the body. The unfixed centers are easily conditioned, easily influenced. So for me, I was so confused until I understood this. For me, my unfixed energy centers are my head center, my throat, and my heart center. So those energy centers have been easily influenced and conditioned throughout my life. And it wasn't until I recognized that my authority is my sacral, that she has the first and final say over the decisions that I make, and to prioritize aligning my heart, throat, and mind with that center is actually the key, the answer to making decisions that are aligned with my highest truth. So for me, I would get into relationships with people that either knew how to manipulate my thought processes because they would notice the thought patterns that I would have. They would pick up on it, and then they would prey on it. Other times I would attract people that would prey on my heart, my sensitivity, and it was easy for them to do so. It's also been a journey for me to find my voice. I definitely still trip up. I have difficulty. I'm a vocalist. I have difficulty sometimes singing fully from that pussy energy, and I get stuck in my head at times, and it's very noticeable, the difference. So when I talk like this, it's very clear that I'm talking in my head voice. I'm talking from my head. I'm nervous about what you're thinking of me, and then I'm getting tripped up, and I don't know what the word to say next, And then there is pussy voice. Grounded, strong, confident, knowing, slow. There's no pressure. It becomes easy and effortless, and it's healing. Not just for me, but for others who listen to me while I'm speaking or singing in pussy voice. Your body is something that you can trust. If you've been taught that your heart is deceitful, there is a reason. Because your desires are leading you to your purpose. Your desires are your ultimate deciders. And if you've been taught that your desires are wrong, that they are shameful and disgusting, that they make you a bad person to act on those desires, it's no wonder you've had a difficult time in listening to your inner knowing. Our desires are our inner knowing. They're not something to be ashamed of. They're something to not only embrace, but to lean into and surrender to fully. And when we do, we are never, ever disappointed. I used to be so terrified of my body. Purity culture raised me to believe that my body was gross, that I was shameful, that any sexual thought that I had was damning me to hell in that very moment. And so I shut down. I shut down my ability to listen to those desires because I felt that those desires were going to lead me to abandonment. They were going to lead me to damnation. There's a reason that we've been taught these things. Because when you step into your desires, you step into your power. Intuition to me is really just a synonym for desire. It's really wild that once you start to listen to your intuition and you know how, you begin to tap into that and let that guide you and lead every step of your way, how fear doesn't really have much space anymore because you're just living your life, you're just enjoying. And when you're enjoying, it naturally protects you from the things that you think that you need to be on guard about. Our poor nervous systems, all they've needed is some care. They need some sensuality. They need grounding. They need for us to put our feet on the ground and to be where we are without distraction, without letting external stimuli pull us in this direction and that direction without our consent. Our nervous systems need our intention to have the final say. Our nervous systems need us to show up for them in a loving and relaxed and sensual way. Our nervous systems do not need more shaming. They do not need more punishment. They do not need us to be more careful or cautious. They need us to remind them that we are safe and that we can trust that inner knowing, that still small voice that presents itself as those momentary impulses, those delicious little moments of, ooh, that sounds good, that sounds fun, let's go in that direction. I've always found that when I am listening to those hell yeses, that the hell no's are a little bit less of a concern for me because I'm so focused on the hell yes that the hell no doesn't really show up in my reality as much. And of course, when it does, saying no is a beautiful fucking practice. It's a beautiful way to listen to our intuition. And most of the time, I found that I don't have to worry as much about protecting myself or being on guard or having to constantly put up my walls, my no walls, when I'm focused more on my yeses. This might sound contradicting to someone who's been a victim of abuse, right? But I think that we have been conditioned to be hypervigilant, and therefore we attract more abuse because we're expecting more abuse, we're expecting danger. And when we're expecting goodness, when we are expecting that things work out for us, naturally, effortlessly, and we lean into our desires, we don't get so caught up in all the fear and the survival mode of needing to constantly be on guard and protect ourselves. Something I heard a lot growing up in the evangelical Christian community was stay on guard. The devil is prowling around like a lion ready to devour you. That shit's scary as hell. No wonder my nervous system was fucked. No wonder. At a certain point, I was like, is this really the life that I'm meant to live? Just constantly on guard, constantly watching my back and looking over my shoulder? No. That's not the life that you came here to live. And I know that there's a lot of scary shit going on in the world. But I urge you that when you start feeling panicky and when you start giving into the fear-mongering and the chaos, to turn inward, give yourself some love and validation for the experience that you're having, and do what you can to tap into your sensuality, because it will ground you. It will ground you into a space where peace of mind is your natural state, regardless of what's going on around you. Safety is not a place. Safety is an internal experience that we can choose into and tap into at any point. We don't have to wait for circumstances to change. We are the force that creates change in our circumstances. Your mind and your consciousness is more powerful than you could possibly imagine. And you've been given a blueprint coming into this world. A blueprint that knows exactly your highest path, that knows exactly what's best for you already. And we don't have to spend our lives trying to figure it all out and puzzle piece it together and watch our backs and make sure that we can survive until that point, we can live a life of surrendered bliss. We can live a life where we are continually giving into those momentary passions, that fire within us. You are deserving of peace of mind. You are deserving of ease, of joy. You're deserving of bliss. You do not have to live a life based on the conditioning that you were raised in, and you do not have to live your life according to your fears. You can live a life of intentional surrender to your desires. You deserve it. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope that this episode brought you clarity, brought you peace, and has inspired you to be more yourself, to be more expressed, to be more you. Till next time, and here's to your rising.